What's going on, YouTube? Claic Yuzolt back again with a War of the Visions video, and in today's video I want to talk about how good the Sage's hat is and how I can teach you guys a trick I learned that you can get perfect dodge, 19 evade every single time you roll one of these bad boys to ensure that you guys have the highest evade that you can and the best item you can build. So let's get into it. Before we get started with today's video, I do need to say thank you to Line Games for sponsoring us to check out their new Battle Royale RPG, Royal Crown. Now, you're used to the normal Battle Royales, trying to be the last one standing, make it until the end as the circle closes in. But this game puts their own special RPG classic style twist to it. The graphics are amazing. You guys can mount up on cute little mounts. You drop out of an airship instead of a plane. This is itching all the great things that we want as RPG gamers. You guys are going to be able to squad up, battle it out together using your abilities for each class, because there is strategy in picking a class and having different abilities. You're going to be picking up swords and staffs and all kinds of that good stuff and that we like to do when we're playing RPG games. And there's going to be cross-play between PC and mobile. That's right. Not only is it a mobile game, but it also has a Steam client that you guys can download and play with your friends. So if Royal Crown looks interesting to you and you want to run around on that little mount and be the winner at the end, click the links in the description below today. So you guys are out there making a bunch of equipment, getting ready for the tower that may be coming out, battling out that Iron Giant, doing PvE and Guild Wars, and trying to be the best, at War of the Visions that you can be. And maybe your eyes have landed on the Sage's hat in the shop as a recipe, and you're thinking to yourself, is this good? Is this something I should invest into? I can answer that right now. The answer is yes. I think this is one of the best items in the game when it comes to armor, equipable, and it has high evasion on it. I'm talking good bang for your buck in an item that you don't have to tier out. And when I say tier out, what I'm referring to is the ability to +1, +2, all the way to +5 that cost all those crafting materials, all those awakening books, all of that time necessary to go in to min-max. And yes, even the Sage's hat's going to be better when you do that, but the Sage's hat offers a lot to you at minimal 0 tier that you can take advantage of. If you look here, we just made a Sage's hat that rolled dodge effects or dodge trait, and you can look at its evade, 19 evasion on an armor piece. That's absolutely insane for not being tiered up. It is not +1, +2. You didn't have to worry about this special ability down here. Excuse me for clicking that. Even though it does give you more evade as you tier it out down here, it gives you more evade. You are going to get 19 evasion. The first thing I want to say, and I want to remind everybody every time they watch one of my equipment videos, is your equipment will only apply the highest stat value over all of your equipment. So let's say you have 19 evasion on the Sage's hat, then you have some kind of ring that is giving you a stat up here of like 17 evasion. It's not going to take 17 plus 19 and give you that number. It is only going to give you the highest one, which would be 19 evasion. So I think this thing is very much useful on a lot of different characters. Even if you're not building an evasion team, this is awesome. Look, it has 7 spirit on it. That's going to be higher than a lot of your other options that you have, along with this 19 evade. If you're not focusing on evade can still proc, guys. There are a lot of units out there that have abilities that buff up their evasion, including Orlando or Frederica, and they're not really normally focused on evasion builds, right? They're not normally, you're thinking about Ketone or Shadow Links that have that evasion innately in their passives through their master ability. However, think about a fight where your Orlando's against another Orlando. You're both at half health. He goes to crush armor you for the win, and you sidestep. Right? It's not going to be the highest rate of doing that, right, if you only have the Sage's hat on, but it is possible. And if that happens, it's going to turn the tide of battle. Same thing when you're going against bosses in PvE, raid bosses, etc. It could be the key to winning you the fight. That's why I think this Sage's hat is really valuable. Now, after all that explanation on talking it up and saying it's really good, let's talk about how to do the process of getting the perfect evade every time. And it's going to be different. This is going to be applied to this specific type of item as it was differently for the Nagnarok. Because you guys can remember in the Nagnarok video, if you haven't watched it, you need to learn more about this leveling up kind of convoluted equipment system. We decided that we're going to Dwarven Hammer after we roll all the stats. That was because we didn't really care about the +1. The stats were too high. We were really only focused on the attack stat, getting that thing maxed out, and then using the hammers to finish the job, because we wanted the bonus rolls to happen, right? Well, the Sage's hat and items like the Sage's hat are going to be a little bit different. And I want to do a shout out to my friend Jay Benson, one of my Twitch viewers, and their guild for teaching me this method, because it actually is quite nice, and it adds even more knowledge to our game here in War of the Vision. So The differences between Sage's Hat and the Ragnarok are obvious, right? The Sage's Hat has really low stats. As you can see, the highest stat it has is HP at 95. The rest of them, 14, 2, 7, 19, aren't that high. If we go take a look at Ragnarok, we have a lot of high stats. We have 38 here, 162, and 56. The ability to hammer out all of the HP, all of the magic, and try to get that guaranteed +1 roll to always roll attack is going to be quite hard, right? It's going to be quite a time investment, and even that +1 really isn't going to push us too much higher to maxing out that attack. We really wanted that bonus roll. And if I kind of confused you right there, I want to give you guys a little bit of a refresher. Every time you level up an item in War of the Visions or an equipment piece, you are getting +1 into at least one stat. That's the minimum you're going to get. So either it's going to go in HP, it will roll into whatever's open. If you close that, if you complete out HP 95 out of 95 or Magic 14 out of 14, it cannot give that +1 to those stats. So instead, it will be rolling to one of the other stats. And in Ragnarok's case, like I talked about, it was too high of values on all these stats to really matter and worry about that +1. But for the Sage's Hat, it's not like that. The highest thing we have to worry about is HP. So you can hammer out that HP, get it up to 95, then you only have 39 other stat points that it can go into, and then you will max out the item. We have 13 here, 2 here, 6, and then 18 for the evade. So at every level, you're getting +1. So if we hammer out the HP in 39 levels, so getting it up to 4-star Awakened, it is going to have everything maxed out. You won't even have to worry about awakening it anymore. You will be totally maxed out. And that can happen for every single Sage's Hat that you make, because you will want to have multiple. And this does also count as you're leveling up to go to +1, +2, +3. It's going to work there. So hopefully that makes sense. So we're going to hammer out all of our HP. I don't have any HP hammers, but we're going to hammer out all of our HP. And you could even get lucky because those bonus rolls we talked about, if you want to use your seals, could work and go into evade. And you could get it maxed out even sooner than that. So this is going to work for a lot of different items out there that have small stats like we just talked about. Easily to max out that evade, easy to get those stats that you want. The next thing I want to talk about is the idea of saving hammers as much as possible as opposed to seals. And the reason I bring this up is seals we've been able to farm, right? We've been farming these book events. We've been farming these different seals, different equipment quests, and seals are an option to farm in there. But what I've been finding out are hammers are much more rare. I haven't found a place to farm the hammers. You can only buy one a day from the arena or PvP shop. As you can see, I bought an HP here. And, there hasn't really been an event where we can get our hands on them. So for the future and for your future equipment farming needs, always try to save your hammers. In the case of the Sage's Hat, the maxing out the HP seems like the best option for me to guarantee you get that maximum 19 evasion. And maybe on other accessories or armor pieces, it could work out that way too. But if we're talking about like, you know, just in general, you always want to hopefully use these seals to get that bonus roll over using a Dwarven Hammer, because I think that's worth it more. And lastly, I have been hearing a lot of people also ask me, where did I get all my Ogre Bristles from to make all these Sage's Hat? Because when we go to a Sage's Hat, I've bought my recipes from the shop, because they haven't been around in an event yet. People are wondering how I got so many to make the Sage's Hat that I did. I farmed them from an earlier event in the in War of the Visions lifespan. I farmed an absolute crap ton of them because I wasn't sure of where I would need them, and it turns out I needed them here. But don't lose hope. We still have an event. We still have tons of equipment events, right? That'll bring them back. But with the data mine information and everything looking the way JP did for Global, looks like we're getting Lucia next week, which I am so excited about. That's my next waifu gunner. But she should bring a Ross Algethi farming event with her. And if we take a look at the Ross Algethi, what does it need? Ogre Bristles. And you're going to be able to farm them from that event. So not only are you going to make this awesome gun, which I like to call Ra's al Ghul because of its name, you are going to be able to farm out these Ogre Bristles to make those Sage's Hat, to make some really nice equipment for your team. So overall, this is what I ended up with during my Sage's Hat spin. I have one Sage's Hat +4 dodge, 100% dodge, have evasion +4 down here, giving me that nice 23 evade on my character. And then sadly, I think this is the one, no, that was my dodge one. This one rolled vital, so I only have 4 evade, so 8 evade on this one. But eventually, when the quality of life comes out, I will combine them, considering the one has dodge, and I'll get a +5 evasion, or dodge, Sage's Hat, giving me all the evasion and everything that I need to make my characters kind of move back and forth and dodge those attacks. So I want to thank Royal Crown again for sponsoring this video. video and helping us out and keeping the Claic Yuzolt house lights on and keeping food on the table. So if you guys like that video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below if you have any more equipment that you maybe I should be on the lookout for to do this with, or if you have any questions about the overall equipment thing. I'll try my best to help you out. Subscribe for future content here on YouTube. Catch me on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/ClaicYuzolt, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.